Hello everyone, welcome back to the course. In today's topic, we are going to be looking at if statement. If statement is one of the very fantastic tool in Microsoft Excel. It makes it easy for us to be able to define our own criteria and for us to be able to do what we want to do with our criteria. And this is how it is being done. For instance, if I want to include a new column and I want to call it rank or status, let's say status. For instance, I want to rank the score of my students. I want to know any one of them that pass or not. And I want to create a particular criteria. So I have a new column called status. And so from here, what I want to do is any student that scores above 130 is pass, or any student that scores below 130 is fail. So that is my criteria. So I'm going to start with equal sign and I'm going to type 1F, IF, if. I'm going to pick that. After picking that, you can see it is saying that logical test. So it means that what logical view or criteria do I want to set? So it means I need to set one. So I'm going to select this cell and I'll say that if this cell is greater than, or let's say it is less than 130, and I'm going to put my comma. They're saying value if true. What do I want to appear if it is true? That means that if that particular cell is less than 130, I want to see F. I'm going to close that the apostrophe, then I put comma. It's saying value if false. It means that if it is not less than that particular criteria 130, then I want to see, so I'm going to put my apostrophe P. I want to see pass. Good. Then I'm going to close this bracket and I'm going to see that. So you can see it's telling me that this particular score is more than 130, and that is true. And I'm going to drag this down and let's see what we have. How many of our students pass and how many fail? You can see everything is P except this. So this is telling us that this is less than 130, and that is correct. You can see this is 120, it is less than 130. That is why it is F. That is for failure. So I can define my criteria. As well, instead of having F, you can as well type it in full, F-A-I-L. Then pass F-E-A-S-S, but you have to put it in apostrophe in order for Excel to be able to understand that, oh, you are including a text. This is the text. If it were to be a number, you don't need to put it in this apostrophe, and if you include apostrophe, that is very, very fine for you. So that is how to do a simple if statement in Microsoft Excel. I can do it the other way around as well by saying, I want to do it the other way around now. Let us look at, I'm starting with my equal sign, and I'm going to type IF, if. I'm going to pick the first one with my tab on the double click it, it's saying logical test. So what I want to do is if this score is greater than 130, I can actually use greater than and equal to 130. If I use that, it means that if I have any score that is 130, it is going to apply the same criteria for that particular score when it is true. Then I'm going to put a comma, value if false. So I want it to be pass. Pass if it is false, then comma. You can see after my comma now, it is saying fail. I just copy and paste this in order not to waste time. I close the bracket. So it means that if this particular cell is greater than or it is equal to 130, tell me pass. And if it is not greater than and it is not equal to 130, just tell me fail. Let us see if this is going to work. So I click on enter, you can see it work. Then you can drag down. This is very fine. You can see this pass and this is fail. And that is very, very correct. Let us assume that I want to, you can see this is also pass because this is 130 and I've said greater than or equal to this. Let us also change some score and let us see if our if statement is going to change. Let's say this is 129 now. You can see it change to failure. So that is one of the great inbuilt function inbuilt function of Excel is going to be working automatically. You don't have to be repeating your process all and all again. Now, there's another thing that we know as nested if. Nested if. Nested if is when you are using more than one if at the same time. I'm using more than one if at the same time. So how do we go about that? That is very simple and very easy as well. So this is what we want to do now. We want to categorize these scores. So if you have a particular score, so if you have a particular score that is greater than 150 or it is 150 and above, that is distinction. If that score is between 130 and 149, that is credit. And if that score is just above 100, that is ordinary pass. So these are the three criteria that we want to have in our nested if or in our if statement. So how do we go about it? Let us look carefully. So firstly, I'm going to start with my equal sign. So I'm going to type IF, and I'm going to pick that with my tab. Then it's saying that what's the first, a logical test. So I'm saying that if this total is greater than and equal to 150, comma, what do I want? If it is greater than or equal to 150, I want it to say distinction. So I can actually click on this directly. You see that this is reflecting as G17 here, that particular cell. So, and I can as well type it in as we type FP the other time and pass and fail. So I'm picking that particular cell G17. So that means that if it is greater than or equal to 150, that is distinction. Then he's saying that is value if true, comma. What should be the value if it is false? That means that if it is lesser than 150, what should be there? So I'm going to include another if statement. So and have another if, and it is asking for logical test. My logical test is that if this particular score is greater than or equal to 130, yes, comma, what should be the value if it is true? Credit. So, comma, what should be the value if it is false? That means if it is less than 130, what should be the value? It should just be pass. And I'm going to close this. Remember, you see that this is red and this is also red. So I need to close this other bracket as well. If I don't close it, I'm going to have an error and it's going to close automatically. So this is saying that this score is under distinction. Let us see, greater than 50, greater than 150 is under distinction. That is correct. So let us drag it down and let us see what is going to happen. Cool. You can see we have passed, but others are showing 0%. What does that mean? Oh, we've not done something. We've not been able, we've not logged ourselves. You observe that if I put this here, you can see that everything is changing relatively. And that is how Excel will be working. The default is relative reference. So I need to log some cells. I need to log these cells that is saying distinction, credit, and pass. Since I'm not typing what I want in. If I'm typing it in, it's going to be there automatically. So I'm going to click on F4 for the double dollar sign to appear, for the dollar sign to appear behind D and also behind 14. Also here, since I'm referencing D18, I'm also going to click on F4 for it to reference appropriately, and this F4 as well. Then I'm going to click on enter. So if I drag this down now, we are going to see what is going to happen. Cool, you can see that everything is working perfectly now because I've logged those particular cells. But I didn't log the first one, which is this D. You know, the first one is not logged. That is the scores that I'm using as the criteria. So it is not logged. That is why it is moving relatively to as I am also moving down. You see that the other one is 130 and it's going to pick any of all these. So this saying credit, let us see, is it between 130 and 149, correct? That is that. This is saying pass. Wow, what's happening? Okay, this is 126. That's correct as well. This is also saying pass 129. 129. You can see 129 is below 130, and that is correct. This is saying credit 138. So that is correct. So that is how to do nested if. Nested if is when you are combining more than one if statement, and when you are having just one if statement, we call that an ordinary if statement. There's still another thing I want to point us to, and that is when we drag this down. Okay, when we drag this down, we are going to observe that this is telling us, this is giving us this, or for this. Cool. You see that there is no score here, but this is still telling us by default that there is 0 here, and that is why we are having all this, and it is telling us that it is passed because that is the last criteria that it can see. So if I include like let's say 300, let's see what it's going to turn to. It's going to change the distinction because our criteria is saying that if it is greater than or equal to 150, you should give us this. Thank you very much for this lecture, for being part of today's class. I hope you like it. I want you to also practice and practice and practice for you to master it. I'll see you in our next topic. Thank you. Have a nice day.